between games right now. And before we get into the next one, it's discussion time. This is Table Topics, where we read stories from Reddit having to do with situations in the tabletop world. We will react, discuss, and give our opinions on the chosen topic for you to enjoy and possibly take back to your gaming table. I'm your host, Kalee, and my guest today is Ashley.
Hi.
Today's topic is band. So let's get into it. Now, as a former band kid, I feel like I have to clarify that I am saying banned, B-A-N-N-E-D, as in
playing instruments.
Rejected, eliminated, not allowed.
Not playing instruments?
Not playing instruments.
That would be interesting.
To do a band episode?
I don't know if there's enough stories around that.
Oh, I bet they've got to be. I was in the marching band. There's all kinds of stories.
Time at band camp.
We were, we got on a bus to go to one of our excursions on our vacation a while back. And we were in the back of the bus. And I was immediately like, oh, we're the cool kids. We're the percussion section or the people that they're friends with.
That's so funny.
Because in my bus, it was in... And then, of course, no one else who was on that bus with me has been in marching band. So they were like, what? And I was like, no, the color guard sits up front. And then it's like woodwinds and people that are maybe still trying to find their place and their friends. And then it's the brass section. And then when you get to the back of the bus is where the percussionists are.
Cool
and
kids.
If you're really cool and you're friends with the percussion section, you get to sit back there with them. Which of course I was.
That's so funny.
By my junior year. Oh gosh, freshman and sophomore, not so much. But anyway. So no one else has no one that was there has a frame of reference. Maybe one of our listeners is like, yeah, that's how it goes. And then my band was big enough that we had 4 different buses.
Oh, wow.
So there was also like
big.
a hierarchy between bus 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Gotta be on the best one.
Because one of them had Mr. Elliott, our wonderful director, who was like the cool teacher, so everybody wanted to be on his bus.
That's so funny.
Good times.
But not band.
But not that band. Band, B-A-N-N-E-D. Band. So is there a game that was once playable to you but is now banned?
Goodness, that's a great question. I feel like growing up, and I feel like this is true for a lot of families, like Monopoly tends to be a hot topic. Like I vividly remember a certain member of my family, not mentioning any names, flipped a Monopoly board because they were very disappointed at the outcome. And I feel like I've read a lot of stories and seen a lot of stuff about that being Monopoly's like
it's divisive.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the only one that comes top of mind. But I'm not sure as an adult. Maybe games banned, depending on who you're playing with.
Yeah, when I recorded the sibling rivalries episode with my sister, it was funny because there was so much memory that was awoken in that moment. But I don't remember anything ever being out of bounds, cutting anything off. And then I was playing with my mom sort of that same time. And I was introducing her to Donut Shop.
Mm-hmm.
You played Donut Shop?
No.
Okay.
No.
It's like a tile placement game. And my mom was like, see, when I was trying to get you kids into games like this, you weren't interested. And I forget what example she gave. But I feel like it was something like, I'm just making this up, like Codomino or something that would have been another tile placement type of game. And she was like, I couldn't get you guys into this. You wanted to play Herd Your Horses. And so then as I was recording that episode with Cortland, I was like, oh, I probably wanted to play that because I couldn't just wipe the floor with you. Because if it was a puzzling game or something like you could use your noggin, my sister was 5 years younger than me.
Right. It's a little bit of a
So a lot of our ages that we were playing together, I would have just crushed her.
Yeah.
But if you play something more like Candyland, where it's like there's a lot of chance involved, then it's more fair. And so it was funny because I was like, oh, it's like having this realization of my time as a child and being like, oh, that's why I did that.
That's so funny. There's definitely games that I feel like I mentally ban. Like specifically when playing with my husband, like I don't want to play that game because I know you're going to beat me.
Yeah.
But I don't think a hard ban.
Yeah, I don't think there's been one that we've cut off for that reason. There's one in Nate's family that's been cut off, which is Pandemic.
Oh,
and it was,
yeah, I remember you talking about that.
Yeah, it was can't do this anymore situation.
That's fair.
Which is probably similar to the Monopoly situation. And then recently I was planning a game night with some of my cousins. Or, well, they're actually Nate's cousin, but I have claimed them and taken them. But they were scheduling a game night, and one of my dear friends feels very strongly about the difficulty level of games she's willing to commit to.
That's fair.
She has a cutoff.
Yeah.
And so I was asking, I was like, okay, hi, where's the cutoff for this occasion? Because I know there is one, and everyone was very honest. And then my cousin Samuel, or I guess his wife, texted and was like, oh, Samuel really loves Smash Up, so I'm sure we're going to play that. Do you know that one?
I do like Smash Up, but I know a lot of people don't.
It didn't click with me the time they introduced me, but I also got a terrible Smash Up.
Yeah.
And we did it randomly, so maybe in the future if I had one that really worked together, because I had like tornadoes and superheroes, which sounds like could work, but they play totally differently, so it was not good. And then my friend Brenda, Samuel's wife, had like Incans and Egyptians or something like that, which play almost exactly the same.
They're probably go together
because they're both I don't even know, but they had the same type of action economy. Yeah. So she was just sweeping everything. But it's a fun game, a really neat concept, and I know people have like loyalties to the Smash Ups. But anyway, Brenda texted and she was like, you know, Samuel really loves this, so we'll bring this. And it was funny because she didn't say, I really love this. So of course somebody kind of laughs at her and they were like, well, how do you feel about it? And she said, I really love Samuel. Fair. Which told you everything you needed to know. And that was just so cute. So sometimes there's those understandings. Nathan doesn't do the acquiring of games at our house, so he's probably more stuck with
whatever comes
something
home.
to do with dragons or something that's really cute, which are the things I bring home.
So no hard bans in your household then?
I don't think so.
That's fair.
I don't think so. Or if there were, I've gotten rid of, like, I've just culled them and now they've left my memory forever. They're gone. Well, so this is stories about games that have gotten cut off.
Okay.
For one reason or another.
I'm curious.
This first story comes from r/Am I the Problem? From Sweet Star Dreamer 49. Am I the problem for not wanting to play a board game? I, a female in my late 20s, grew up with two older brother figures in my life. A is the older one, B is the younger one. An activity we all enjoy are games, video games, board games, tabletop games, and RPGs, an example of which being D&D. I will admit that over the years, my interest in board games has died down, unlike A and B, who still love them. I will play with them, and there are some that I really like. I am a people pleaser, so I almost never say no. Even if I don't want to play, I still will. The other night, the three of us got together to play some board games. At first, it was fun. We played a few and had a good time. That is, until a certain game was suggested. This game is a game that I swore to never play again. The last time that we played, B used a flaw in the game to summon a bunch of troops, then focus fired until A and I lost. This happened the last 4 to 5 times we played, and I swore that I would never play again. Fast forward to the other night, and this game was brought up. Apparently, they added an app to run the opposing force, so that all of the players are on the same side. I refused to play. I said they could have fun playing, but I did not want to, and swore not to, as my frustration at this game had not yet died down. Even if it's a little different, the impression that its earlier version left had soured the game for me. I was then told by B that I, quote, cannot compare this version of the game to the other one, and that I have not played this game. I was getting upset and decided that I needed to walk away. B left to get the game so that he and A can play test it, and if it was fun, I had to play. Grandma then stepped in and tried to compromise with a different game, even saying she would join in as she does not play too many games with us, only for B to get upset and threaten to go home for the night. Things were said, and at the end of the night we were able to agree that hanging out, regardless of what was done, is what mattered, and spend a few hours talking and catching up where no games were played. I will admit to being the problem for having my grandma step in, as we are all adults and this is really petty, but I want to know if I'm really in the wrong here.
I don't think she's in the wrong for not wanting to play a game, especially if she's had like a sour experience with it. I guess it depends where that comes from. Does it come from a being a sore loser? Does it come from a like just not enjoying board games as much anymore? I mean, either one in theory, okay. Because like I said before, I've sometimes like mentally banned games in my mind. And I think one of those ones I'm thinking of specifically is like Ticket to Ride. Well, I love that game. I don't like playing with my husband because he wins every single time. So that's one of those that I don't necessarily bring up when a board game night comes up because I'm like, I roll. He's just going to win anyways. But I will say we recently, just yesterday, actually started the Ticket to Ride campaign game. And it's been fun to play it from a different perspective and just kind of take another stab at it. So maybe she could take another stab at the different version of the game, give it a chance. Maybe she's being a little bit harsh, but it kind of just sounds like she doesn't love board games in general as much anymore as she used to. And that's okay. People grow up and change and have different interests and different opinions on things. So I think that's all right.
Yeah, I think it is a combination of those two things, because it seems like her issue with the game came from brother B finding a way to exploit a weakness and therefore defeat her and her other brother over and over and over. Which usually if something like that happens, everybody tries to exploit the same weakness. So maybe it's a little bit of like they couldn't do the same thing back to him.
Yeah.
But she's just so, I mean, she's very honest. She's so soured on that game that she doesn't want to try it again in any version. She's done.
She's over it.
And I think that makes sense. Like, it's good for them that they're over it and they want to try this other way, but you can't force anyone to do it regardless.
And there's no saying that you can't just sit and hang out with your family while they play the game.
Yeah.
Spend quality time and hang out and have conversations and enjoy snacks, drinks, whatever you're doing. You don't have to play. You can just watch.
The part of it that's kind of wild to me is that like she's saying I'm wrong that I got my grandma involved. But once you got grandma involved and grandma's offering to play something, do that.
Yeah, did she actively seek grandma's involvement or did grandma just voluntarily step in?
She didn't say she did.
Yeah,
she said grandma then stepped in, but then she admits she might be the problem for having my grandma step in. So I'm not totally clear on that.
Yeah, I guess it's one thing if she went to grandma and said, like, can you please say something? I don't want to play this.
Yeah.
Or if it's just like grandma felt bad for brother B and just wanted to play because he needed extra people. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just so, what I'm facing in my life right now is that it's so valuable to do things with your older family members while you can.
It totally is.
So it's really unfortunate. It's hitting chords with me that things fell apart even after this grandparent got involved. They continued to escalate.
Yeah, I was confused why brother got mad at grandma. That wasn't really very clear, huh?
It says he got upset and threatened to go home.
Yeah,
and then things escalated.
Because your grandma wants to play a game with you? That's sad.
Yeah, I know.
Was there any further context given surrounding the escalation of emotion surrounding the game?
No, he doesn't respond to anything, and there's only a handful of comments. So I don't know. It seems like something that you played growing up and had bad experiences with and just didn't want to play again.
Yeah.
But they didn't want to let it go. Which, to their point, just like you playing Ticket to Ride Legacy, or is that what it's called?
I don't know. Off the top of my head.
The campaign version of Ticket to Ride. So similar to how you playing the campaign version of Ticket to Ride is bearable for you now. I think the brothers do have a point that, okay, now if we're working cooperatively against a common enemy, that it would be a different play style.
Yeah.
But she's just not interested.
She's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Like, you can be burnt on the theme. You can be burnt on the content. Like, you don't really know, or you're not limited to what you can be sort of fed up with.
He did say it was a cooperative game the second time around.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I guess I understand that a little bit more than in the sense they probably needed another player to play. So he was probably a little bit bummed that she didn't want to play. And I could also see maybe why you wouldn't want grandma to play a cooperative game that she doesn't really know anything about that might be a little bit tough.
Yeah.
From a strategy standpoint. But maybe he just needs to find other people to play.
Well, here's some comments from Steve King, 1357. Not the problem. If you don't want to play a game, nobody should be forcing you to play. It's your choice, and although I think one day you should get around to playing it, the fact that A abused a glitch makes it their fault, in my opinion. B abused the glitch. Just want to say. Justice for A. Next comment from Precambrian. Not the problem. No is a complete sentence. You can opt in or out of playing a game, and they need to move on instead of cajoling you to do something you don't want to do, game or not.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I can relate to this story a little bit in the sense that my brother doesn't particularly love board games, so it's hard because the rest of the members in our family kind of do. But we tend to respect that when he's there. We tend to put the board games away and just kind of spend time as a family, hanging out, talking, spending time together. So they should, in theory, respect her wishes to not play and just enjoy, like you said, that quality time that you get to spend with your family while you have the chance to. And maybe just find something else to do to fill the time instead.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing to navigate in lots of different settings. Because even me now, I have to recognize that my dad has moved beyond the point in his life that he wants to learn something with a bunch of rules.
Yeah.
Not interested.
Totally.
So when I've been looking at games for him, they're very straightforward, low rules. I bought him Strike.
Mm-hmm.
And I bought him barbecues, and I just keep it in the realm of either things that are similar to something like Rook that he knows very well, or these sort of very straightforward games. My mom is still more interested in something complicated, but I'm not going to get her to do a 2-hour board game.
Yeah.
So it's something you have to navigate kind of regardless.
Totally.
Even my sister, who has her own game nights, she's mostly focused on party games or quicker games. She really enjoys Planted when I started bringing it around. So she might enjoy heavier board games. But if I bring it, that's now a moment that I'm only spending with me and my sister, potentially Nathan. It's isolating my parents.
Yeah.
So it's more complicated because you're when do I have the time to do some things with some people, but not everybody. So it's a hard thing to negotiate But it's also fair to be like, hey, I'm not interested. I'm just over this.
Yeah, she's very fair in that opinion and thought, and they should respect her when she says it.
This comment comes from Demapchin.
Okay.
Not the problem. You can play what you enjoy and skip games you don't enjoy. There's a very popular game with multiple expansions that I refuse to play, based on what I consider to be a major flaw in it. Said flaw might be addressed in expansions, but I'm so soured on the game, I will only play it about twice a decade. I have a dad, a brother, and a few nieces that I play board games with regularly. We adjust what we play based on who plays. One niece loves a certain cooperative game. Her sister can't stand it. So we adjust based on who is playing. It's not that hard.
So true. I know we've talked about it a lot, and pretty much a lot of the episodes where it's just like you kind of have to know your audience when you're going into a game night or even post-holiday playing games with family or friends. You just got to know who you're playing with and kind of, like this poster saying, adjust accordingly and pick things that everyone can be happy with. Because like you said, the most important thing is just being able to spend the time together and trying to find something where everyone's enjoying themselves.
Yeah. I have a little funny aside. Nathan's parents got borderline obsessed with Dominion.
Okay.
And they have, I don't know, 7 or 8 boxes of the different sets, versions, whatever.
For that one, huh?
And there was a couple years there. Well, we were still in Philly, so we didn't see them very often. But they had all these Dominion sets. One of Nathan's brothers sent his like Christmas picture with his girlfriend's family. And in the background were like 18 Dominion boxes. And so the whole like group chat got distracted by the fact that there were so many Dominion boxes. And then one of Nathan's sisters did her registry for her wedding, and there were Dominion expansions on her registry. And they were going to live in a van.
Oh,
so my thought was like, where are you going to put these?
Priorities.
Like all your other stuff is like these like small pack down tables and like picnic chairs and whatever.
Need their Dominion expansions.
And then 6 boxes of Dominion. So there was a time that I personally saw it as so ridiculous that I had no interest in Dominion.
Yeah.
I was like, whatever this is, I don't want in it. It's like an MLM. I'm not. It's just piling up in your house. And then we moved here and we started having game nights with his parents, and Dominion's pretty fun. And I'll admit that. And I think I even have pretty good odds for winning against them. But for a while, it was just so wild that I was like,
no. I feel like I've gotten that way in the past about like movies and TV shows and stuff like that too, where they just get so overhyped that you're like, I don't want anything to do with it. Or I don't like that. Like people made it out to be way better than it actually was. So I totally get that and resonate with that.
Yeah. That was a portion of the interview with Jay Bernardo from Bezier that I liked, where they updated, or they came out with a new version of Rebel Princess called Zombie Princess. And one of the things he was saying was like, for a while, zombies were kind of off limits because they had been so done.
That's so true.
And it was in the era of The Walking Dead, but then there were all these spinoffs. There were I Am Legend, Warm Bodies, everything was zombies.
Yeah.
And so he was like, for a while, everyone was done with zombies because they had been so invested in zombies for this 4 to 5 year period. They were done. He's like, now it's starting to be like niche again, I guess. So it's safe to design. I was like, that's very true.
Yeah.
Because I've never cared too much for zombies. And so I hated that everyone talked about The Walking Dead all the time because I was like, boo.
Yeah, I agree.
Bleh, I hate it. And I was also, 15? Don't date me. So I think that's a good point. Like sometimes these things are cyclical. Like,
yeah, maybe she's just in that phase where she's like, I'm so annoyed by this. And then maybe one day she'll come around. You never know.
You never know. Our next story deals with more of a temporary ban.
Okay.
From r/Am I the Problem? From Paynes McGee 404. Am I the problem for banning Risk until I'm recovered? So this is as insignificant as it gets, but as the title says, I, 30, and my partner, 33, recently bought the board game Risk because we both love it. I have a chronic pain issue and started having a flare-up after a couple hours of shopping. We got food, got home, and I took my meds and got myself in the best position possible that I can be in to handle the waves of pain. My partner decided to play Risk with our kids because he couldn't wait. The problem is, the only spot we have to play the game is to set up at the kitchen table. I really can't handle 2 flights of stairs and sitting at our table in a position that will make my pain worse, and said Risk was banned until I'm feeling better and can join, seeing as Risk can take many hours, and I will hopefully feel better enough to play by tomorrow after good rest and meds. He says this is unfair and I am being a butt for it, and told me to take it to Reddit and see what the world thinks. So, Reddit, am I the problem for banning Risk until my flare-up is recovered because I am also excited to play and don't want to miss out?
I mean, yeah, kinda. Sorry, girl.
Oh man, you and I are really disagreeing on some. Okay.
I mean, it's not like this is a new game. Like, they've had this game for a while, right?
No, they just bought it today.
Oh.
So they literally just bought it and continued shopping. And then when she got home, she got...
But they've played it before. They love Risk.
I think they've played it before. They haven't introduced it to their kids before.
Okay. I'm coming around a little bit. I think the thing that catches me most, though, is that she clearly is like immobile right now, resting in bed. Mm-hmm. So what, your family can't do anything fun because you are resting in bed? Like, they can't go get ice cream because you can't leave bed. They can't watch a movie because you're not able to be there. Like, so you don't want them to go like enjoy their day because you can't. Like, you want them to be miserable with you, I guess, is my initial gut react. But knowing that it is a new game and maybe if their kids haven't played it before, that's where I do come around to that. And I get it, because I would be a little upset too if we got a new game and Derek played it without me.
Yeah, I think it is tricky. I think it's unfortunate that the husband is taking a hard line.
Yeah.
Of like, oh, post this to Reddit, see what the internet thinks.
That is true.
Because this is just an emotional decision. Like, this is just the excitement of having just bought it today.
Yeah.
And they probably talked about in the store.
How they excited.
Yeah. That they want to introduce it to their kids. And so now the husband's like, okay, well, I'm going to do that because that's what we talked about. She's like, well, I can't now because I'm having this flare up. So in a way, you know, no one wants to be excluded in general, but especially not because of something kind of out of your control.
That's very true.
So
okay, now I feel like the problem.
Who's the problem?
You've convinced me.
Me or Ashley? And I have friends that have some pain issues, and when it hits, it hits.
Yeah.
And you really have to be respectful of that. And of course, my friend group is very good about that. And, how can we help? Or, okay, lay down. Okay, here's a heating pad, whatever it might be. So I guess I'm sympathetic to her being like, can you wait one day? Like, can you wait for this?
I think you're totally right. In the event that it's a new game and she was really excited to show it with her family, I think where that line becomes a little questionable or blurry to me is if she's going to be like that about everything that they try to do that day while she's in bed and not able to hang out. So, but yeah, you've changed my mind.
Well, if it was as you said, like if it was like nobody can leave,
right? No one can do anything
because I am here, then it would be problematic to me. But if it's just a request, like,
to wait a day.
Yeah. Then
you're so right.
It makes sense to me.
Very right.
Okay, interesting. This top comment kind of agrees with you initially for interesting reasons. This is from Karmatika. You're the problem. Not because of the whole wanting them to play without you thing. Totally get that part. It's the phrasing. Banning someone else from doing something because you can't isn't a normal, grown-up way to express yourself. I guarantee half the people in here who think they're mad because you didn't want them to play without you would have not the problem if you said, I asked them not to play without me. And I bet your husband would have taken it better too if instead of saying, Risk is banned until I feel better, you had said, hey guys, I feel sick and I was really looking forward to this. Could we do something else tonight and play Risk tomorrow?
Yeah, that might explain why I had like gut
That's
react.
very true.
Because I do think that if the story was told a little bit differently, like, hey guys, I'm really bummed. Like I really was looking forward to this. I really wanted to play with you guys. And yet the husband still chose to. I think that maybe I would have a little bit of a different reaction. But I mean, they're right. Because the wife said, this is banned, I think maybe it comes across a little bit harsher.
I'm getting suspicious in these comments. But OP responds to that. I say, it's probably the phrasing. I asked my husband how to post it, and he said this. But I didn't use that word in real life.
Oh, so there's a little dramatization.
Yeah, I don't love this. And he's not mad or upset. He thought it was a funny disagreement to post. We're all currently playing a game I can play while in bed before bedtime, as we always do when I have flare-ups.
Oh, that's sweet.
Your husband set you up there a little bit.
Am I the drama?
Am I the drama? It can't be me.
Yeah, it sounds like a little bit more wholesome than how it was presented on Reddit.
And they're absolutely right. That she is definitely being labeled the problem with strong language.
Oh, no.
So, yeah, that's really important context to clarify.
I like that they are making an effort to go spend time with her because she can't get out of bed. You know, like you said, it's something that's beyond her control in that moment in time. So it's nice that they're changing their plans a little bit and playing games with her too.
That's so sweet.
Yeah, that is very sweet.
To come up and play something in bed with you.
Include mom.
Yeah.
I love that.
Crimson Knight 004 responds clearly after having seen her comment. And it says, not the problem. Or no problems here.
Yeah.
From the context you provided in another comment, you didn't ban them. You just asked if they could play a less involved game in bed until you're up for Risk tomorrow. No one's a problem here. You asked for an accommodation based around your chronic illness. Everyone adjusted in a way that's mindful to you and still allows everyone to have fun together, which is what's most important here anyway. I hope you feel wonderful tomorrow, OP, and enjoy Risk with your family.
Well said. I agree completely.
So, we've covered some stories and given some experiences, but now we're going to just go into a wider discussion and looking at some games back on r/boardgames. So, there's a post in r/boardgames. By 30 is the new 40.
Yes, it is.
Oh, bad news for me.
Oh, wait, no. I thought it was the other way around.
Yeah.
No. No, it's not.
Oh, man. Hard pass. Which board games do you actively avoid and why? I recently played a game of Message from the Stars, and while the concept was intriguing, the logic just didn't click for me. Let's just say if alien communication depended on me and that game's logic, humanity's doomed. It got me wondering about the games that, for whatever reason, I tend to politely decline on game day. For me, those include Galaxy Trucker. The frantic chaos can be a bit overwhelming for my taste. Captain Sonar. The potential for it to become a shouting match, unfortunately, detracts from my enjoyment. And Pandemic. Repeated experiences with alpha players have, sadly, lessened the cooperative feel for me.
Familiar.
Oh, weird. So, fellow gamers, I'm curious. What are the board games that you tend to avoid on game day? And what are the reasons behind your preference? No negativity intended, just curious about different tastes and experiences.
Do you have any before we get into the comments?
I'm definitely not always in the mood for something hyper competitive.
Yeah.
Or something that'll take my entirety of my brain power.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I really love Apiary. I really love Flamecraft. I've played Dune Imperium and I like it. I like Spirit Island. But I guess Spirit Island's the one I've played the most. But Dune Imperium and Spirit Island are both games you have to be in 1,000%.
You have to be in the right frame of mind for stuff like that. Yeah.
And I remember there was an instance where we were introducing Spirit Island at my work game night. And this guy came in and we had a beer fridge at my office. And he came in and like we hear him sort of pop a tab at the beginning of Spirit Island. And me and the other guy who were more like the organizers made eye contact and we were like, oh no, this is not good. This is not the game for pop and tabs.
Oh no.
And so I'm not always like that. And I'll be straightforward.
Yeah.
You know, if there's options presented or somebody with, you know, a huge shelf like you guys have is like, what's everybody in the field for? I know enough terminology now.
Yeah.
To say where the line is. Like,
yeah.
To say I can't do anything heavier than
XYZ.
Something,
yeah.
I don't know, pick a reference. Or I'd like to do a puzzle game. Or I think we should do like a party game as a palate cleanser. Like I can say stuff like that now.
For sure.
And I know not everybody can.
No, that's good insight though. I feel like you said, you totally have to be in the right frame of mind to play big games. We talk about that a lot. It's like if we one night get done with work and chores and whatever we got to do around the house, we're like, hey, you want to play a game? We often have this conversation like, are we in the mood for like an Ark Nova Terraforming Mars Dead Reckoning kind of game? Or are we in the mood for something quick and easy? And oftentimes it's the quick and easy route. So I totally get that.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think for me, I actively avoid trick-taking games because first I didn't grow up playing like card games. So for some reason, it's just really hard for me to wrap my head around. And I'm not sure why, but they just really confuse me. So I tend to avoid those.
Yeah, I grew up with trick-taking games. So I'm comfortable with those.
Mm-hmm.
And those are a good go-to for me now because one, they're so plentiful.
Yeah.
So everybody has one on their shelf. And then they're generally kind of quicker. So like when we were at your house, however many weeks ago that was, we played Sandbag as kind of a palate cleanser between two much larger games. And I thought that was pretty perfect. I'm remembering now, though.
For me, that's my anxiety. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing.
It was fun.
No, it was so fun, though. I ended up liking it.
My memory from that, though, was I always watch the scorekeeper because like I've been playing a lot of Six Nymphs, too, because that's the one that the midgets bring on there. That's my husband's last name. That's his genuine last name. It's not a generalization of people type, but that's what they bring. So we've been playing a lot of that. So that one has the same problem where if somebody is getting their score right and doing really well, especially me, if I've got a 0 score or a negative score and then someone goes, oh my gosh, you're still on 0. I get pissed off.
Don't blow my cover. Don't.
So I remember at your night when we were like,
probably Derek, wasn't it?
No, it was Jared. Most of the way through his handbags, I think I was the scorekeeper. So of course I hadn't said a darn thing.
You know what you got.
But Jared, I think, had kept his score like less than 5. And everyone was like, oh, you're doing so good. And he just takes the score sheet.
Kalee?
And he goes, Kaylee's on 0. And I just looked at him and I mouthed a word I can't say on the podcast. And he just dies laughing because he knows he sold me out.
Yep.
But I have remembered in the course of talking about it, we were learning several games for the convention. And one of them was Parks.
Yeah.
No.
Not a fan.
Not a fan.
That's fair.
I think it's a well-made game.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's really neat. It loses me. I remember even watching the like tutorial from Becca Scott.
Yeah.
I was 5-6 minutes in and I was like, ugh.
Just not feeling
it off. I didn't finish it. And so then when we played it and it ended up being this like 80-minute thing, or I don't know how long it was. It felt like forever. I don't know. I just didn't love it.
I get it. I get it.
I did pretty well at like moving my guy and I figured out how it works and whatever, but I was just like,
just not clicking, just not liking it.
One less season or one less something.
Yeah.
And it was a little bit faster. I would be happier.
That's fair. I feel that way about Cards Against Humanity too. That's probably my biggest ban, my biggest mental ban.
It's so funny because
I despise that game.
Get a lot of stories around that game because of course it's very popular.
It is.
But people that are like quote unquote serious board gamers, like it doesn't even register as a game.
Yeah.
It's just not there. Like I remember reading in the very first episode with Jared and Ian, reading a story that had to do with Cards Against Humanity. And Jared was like, if I had gamers over and I pulled out Cards Against Humanity, it's like people would leave.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's out of there. I guess I don't really care either way. Like it could be fun, it could not be.
That's fair.
But I get why a lot of people are like, no.
Well, what are some of the comments? What kind of games do they avoid?
So Jacobs82 says, I agree with OP on Captain Sonar, but for another reason. I always used to play it in meetups, but there was always one person losing their crap over trying to audit everyone's play. Betrayal at House on the Hill is one of my others. I loved it, played a ton of it. After getting Widow's Walk, I began to hate it. The scenarios felt untested and possibly not even proofread. The least gamey person in the group always got traitor, and that can be a stressful role if you're not used to having a rule book tossed at you, with expectations that you understand it so everyone can have fun. I'm sure the game scared more than a few would-be board gamers from the hobby.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. I don't know enough about Betrayal on House on the Hill.
I don't either. I think I've played it or watched people play it maybe once, but I don't know enough about it. I think that everyone has their own individual rule book, and I think so that's kind of hard to play with new gamers or people that aren't as familiar with it, because if you have to go off and read a rule book by yourself and you get confused on what things mean, then that's never a good scenario.
It says Munchkin is my last one. I like the concept, but the execution ends up overstaying its welcome by a large margin.
I know we have that one, but I don't think I've ever played it.
That was one of the early ones that I was introduced to by Nate's family.
Mm-hmm. That one's been around for a bit. Are there any like controversial ones? Like any that you're like, what?
Maybe. Corporal Rutland says anything claiming to be adult and or party. I'd rather people go back to thinking I play Monopoly.
Fair.
There's another one about Betrayal of House on the Hill.
Interesting.
Or maybe just Betrayal. This one says, any social deduction game. Werewolf ruined an entire genre for me.
Oh no.
Probably more precisely, the people I've played Werewolf with did it.
Ding, ding, ding.
That's for me. Loof Modnar responds to that and says social deduction games are so hugely dependent on the group being decent at roleplay and not holding a grudge.
So true.
My wife won't do them with me because I can read her well enough to guess her role 80% of the time. Yeah, absolutely.
That is very, very true.
I have a terrible poker face. You know what I love? I love code names and word association games in general.
Yeah.
I love it. And I love being the clue giver.
Mm-hmm.
I have to genuinely hide my face sometimes because
you're like,
I know I have a bad poker face, or I have to overreact to everything. Like I had one the other day where I think I chose to say computation instead of computer. Probably should have said computing.
Right.
But I think I was trying to hook in more of like the equipment associated with computers than just computer. And I don't even think it was the assassin card. I think it was just another card for the other team. But somebody like immediately latched onto that, and I have to stop myself from being like...
rolling your eyes, yeah.
Because then they make the argument like, oh, but she said computation, not computer. So she's wanting us to get some of these other things. I'm like, no.
No. And then you can't give it away with your facial expression.
Yeah, you can't do that. And I really try to honor that, but sometimes I honor it by having to like genuinely just put my face on the table.
Have you ever played Mysterium?
I feel like I have, but nothing's coming to mind.
It's kind of like Codenames, but it's more like picture cards. Like you have to, you see cards with random artwork on them, and it like, you have to pick what, I guess it's kind of like a combination of that and Clue. You have to pick like a character, a weapon, based off of picture cards.
Oh.
But going along to the story of Codenames is that the person who is giving out the clues is behind like a visor. So Derek is often the person that gives out clues, and I'm like, you better put your head behind that visor because you are giving everything away right now.
Get behind your screen. Yeah. And Nate and I famously can sometimes get on separate pages.
Oh.
We try not to be on the same team for Codenames.
Totally.
And then we had said that when we were getting paired off or like teamed off for this game, and we ended up on the same team, and Nate was like, guys. But then we won when I was the clue giver. Well, then Nathan was the clue giver. And I absolutely proved that true. And I felt really bad because he said something later, and it was like close to the end of the game. So it was one of the things that like if we got all three, we could have won, right? And he said, Rosso. Well, I know that our favorite brand of espresso comes from Rosso Cafe. And that was the only Rosso that I was thinking of. But I'm looking at it. So I'm immediately like, oh, it's a clue for me. It's Rosso. So I'm telling my team, oh, this is our brand of espresso. And then we look at the words, and there's absolutely zero words
have to do
that
with
it could be if he meant espresso. So I was immediately like, nope, never mind.
Track that. Scratch
but
that.
then I couldn't think of anything else. Well, turns out he was trying to get me to think of the Miyazaki film Porco Rosso, which is a film that I really like. And
that's so funny.
And the clues were like airplane, ocean, things that made sense for Porco Rosso. And I was just like, whatever. And it was one of those things that later I was like, yeah, Nathan has no clue the name of the espresso brand that I buy. Of course that wasn't what he meant.
It's also hard when you're playing Codenames with your partner on your team like that, where it's like you want to give a clue, but you know it's only something that your partner will know.
Yeah.
It's a similar situation.
It's too deep of a cut. So I was so embarrassed because then I think I'd thrown the whole group off, and someone who might have also seen that film just lost it.
Wasn't
like,
even
it was
thought.
just gone.
Oh man.
But I definitely don't ban that game. I love that game.
We
just have to be on separate teams. Yeah. Similar. I said, I know they're popular, but I don't really like games where you have to actively lie as a game mechanic.
Yeah.
They reference, Secret Hitler, Chameleon, etc. I am okay with trying to fool people with my behavior or actions, but not by actually having to look them in the eye and say something that's not true.
That's fair.
It's not that I'm terrible at it, but it makes me feel bad and isn't fun. Either I am successful at lying to my friends and I feel kind of yucky, or I am unsuccessful and I hate losing. So it's a kind of lose-lose situation for me.
That's interesting. That makes sense, though.
Oh, there's another reference for Cards Against Humanity. Another reference for Munchkin.
Lots of reoccurring ones, it sounds like.
There's Catan.
Yeah,
There's
we don't
Monopoly.
ever play that one.
I don't play it that often, as in I haven't played it in the last 10 years. But I lurk on their subreddit because I found
I'm sure there's
good
juicy
stories
stuff
from there.
Yeah. I feel like for me, that's one of those ones like we were talking about earlier. It's just overhyped for me that I just don't have any interest in it because I'm over it.
Oh, this is okay. Loof Modnar made multiple comments.
Okay.
This one I like. It's really good. For me, it's less about avoiding specific games entirely and more about avoiding specific games with specific people. Yep. There are certain combinations that are just awful. Oath, and my friend who overanalyzes and tries to plan out his next 3 turns is a no-go.
Yep.
My indecisive friend who wants to quarterback games isn't getting near me with Pandemic.
Yep.
My friend who tries to create layered strategies for everything isn't playing Zombicide with me.
Mm-hmm. Hit the nail on the head.
Respond to him. Ashley agrees with you. Oh, this one is Root.
Oh, I've never played that one.
I haven't yet either. It's on my gotta find friends to play this with me list.
Yeah.
So this is from Fruman. This is Root. I've only played a few games and I like the art. That's it. 2 times I played the cats and the only joy I got from one of those games was going after the Ravens and Newts players, who are both the very experienced Root players. This way, the final score for them was close instead of one blowing the other out of the water. So I guess maybe you feel like you can't beat the experienced players.
Yeah.
Because that's an asymmetrical competition game. Pandemic. It's a co-op.
That's such a hot topic.
I know, it's out of there. It's a co-op that doesn't allow for a gracious amount of mistakes. 100% true. This means that knowledgeable players just end up playing solo mode, but with other people helping out. Move the pieces. When I play it now, I just play the role where I can airlift people wherever and let the less experienced players direct me where to move their people.
That's so interesting to me because I never would have seen like a cooperative game as being something that's so contentious. But after hearing the stories that you shared on the siblings rivalries episode and then just hearing these commenters here, I mean, I guess it really makes sense that maybe people do kind of take over. I always thought cooperative games were more like entryways to get people into understanding game mechanisms. So that's interesting.
Positronic says, multiplayer solitaire games like Wingspan. I want to interact with my friends, otherwise what's the point in it being multiplayer?
Yeah, that's fair.
Poking Smoles responds to that. I feel this. I really like playing Wingspan, minus the part where I just sit and wait for my turn. So now I just play against AI on Steam and save game nights for more interactive games.
Okay.
Twilight Imperium, purely because it takes so long.
Yeah.
That's on there. Oh, Dominion. Munchkin again. Social Deduction again. Oh, interesting. Arc Nova.
Okay.
That's one of your and Derek's favorites, right?
Yeah, we've only played it a couple of times, but I really liked it. It is one of those that's more like you have to be in the right mood to play it. Yeah.
Because Arc Nova, I keep trying, and every time it's just a miserable experience. When the group wants it now, I nope out and set up something else for when they're done. Oh no.
That was kind of the best part about the game table gamer trait, though, is that when there's people playing a game you don't want to play, you can just nope out and go play something else.
Yeah. We had that group that went downstairs to play Arcs for like half a day.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys played some pirate
Dead Reckoning. Yeah.
Dead Reckoning for a long time. And then people were just moving in and out other games.
Mm-hmm.
This comment responds to the comment from the original post. Repeated experiences with alpha players have sadly lessened the cooperative feel for me. And they say, I always seem to be in the minority saying this, but an alpha player problem is not a game problem. It's a player problem. Not saying you should run out and play Pandemic, but comments like this make me sad that we stopped playing the game And don't try to address the poorly behaved gamer who ruined it.
That's true.
So join us in the future for alpha players.
That's a perfect like full circle moment for the episode in the sense that the first story, she doesn't like it because the way her brother played it. So,
and maybe she would try it again if her brother had been nicer.
Maybe.
Well, those were our stories on today's table topic. Maybe you agree, maybe you disagree. Tell us about it. Maybe you have a story of your own you want to share. We'd love to bring it to the table. Check out our links in the show notes. Good luck on your next game, and we'll catch you again here on Table Topics.